The rain fell hard that night. Zainab stood outside the gate with one small bag. Her hands shook. Inside the house, she called home for 6 years. Voices laughed. They were happy she was gone. Mama Ngozi's words still burned in her ears. You are useless. No children. No value. Leave this family. Zainab had cooked their food, cleaned their home, loved them like her own blood. But tonight, they threw her out like trash. Her husband, Chidi, stood by the door. He said nothing. He didn't look at her. The man who once held her hand and promised forever now watched her suffer in silence. Behind him stood Yetunde, the other woman, touching her pregnant belly with a smile. He didn't just stop loving me, Zainab whispered to the rain. He let them destroy me. But what they didn't know, what none of them could see, was the small leather bag Zainab held close to her chest. Inside were papers, important papers, papers that proved she wasn't who they thought she was. Dear friends, if you're watching this story and you believe every woman deserves respect, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't let Zainab's voice disappear into the night. Your click gives power to every person the world has tried to silence. Drop a comment and tell me, where are you watching from tonight? 6 years ago, Zainab woke up at 5:30 every morning. The house was always dark and quiet. She moved like a ghost, making breakfast before anyone woke up. Eggs, bread, tea with 3 spoons of sugar for Mama Ngozi, just how she liked it. Chidi would come down at 7. He never said good morning anymore. He just picked up his phone and smiled at the screen. Not at her. Never at her. Zainab saw the name sometimes when he wasn't careful. Yetunde. Always Yetunde. Did you iron my shirt? Chidi asked, without looking up. Yes, Zainab said softly. It's on the bed. He walked away. No, thank you. No kiss. Nothing. The man she loved had become a stranger who lived in her house. Mama Ngozi came into the kitchen like a storm. You burned the toast again. What kind of wife can't even make a simple breakfast? Zainab looked at the toast. It wasn't burned, just a little brown on the edges. But she didn't argue. She never argued. Her mother's voice whispered in her memory. Silence is not weakness, my daughter. Silence is strength. But strength was getting heavy. 6 years heavy. Still no baby? Folake, Chidi's younger sister, said with a mean smile. She was eating the egg Zainab made, looking at her phone, laughing at her own joke. Maybe you're cursed. That's what Mama says. Zainab's hands gripped the counter. Her heart hurt, but her face stayed calm. She had learned to hide her pain so well that sometimes she wondered if it was still there. Before Zainab became Zainab Okonkwo, she was someone else, someone powerful, someone the whole country knew. Her name was Zainab Adeleke. Her father was Chief Adeleke, the richest man in Lagos, maybe the richest man in all of Nigeria. She grew up in a mansion with 12 bedrooms, drivers, cooks, guards, everything a girl could want, except for one thing, real love. At 21, she met Chidi at the university. He was different. He didn't know who her father was. He didn't care about money. He talked about building houses for poor people, about making the world better. He looked at her like she was the sun. I don't need your family's money, Chidi said when he proposed. I just need you. Those words made her heart fly. So she did something crazy. She left everything, her father's company, her name, her money, all of it. She took just enough to give Chidi as a dowry and told him it was from a distant uncle who had died. I want him to love me, not my father's money, she told Mr. Olumide, her father's lawyer. He shook his head sadly. Love built on lies is like a house built on sand, my dear. But she didn't listen. She was young. She was in love. She changed her name legally, became Zainab Okonkwo, left the Adeleke empire behind. 1 year later, her father died. His will left her 45% of everything, billions of naira, control of the biggest company in West Africa. But the will was secret. Only Mr. Olumide knew. Zainab put the papers in a small leather bag and hid them under her bed. One day, I might need them, she thought, but she hoped she never would. Now, 6 years later, that bag was still there, hidden, waiting. One morning, Chidi came into the bedroom while Zainab was making the bed. He looked at the floor under the bed. "You keep too much junk under here. Clean it out." Zainab's heart jumped. The leather bag. He was looking right at it. "Those are just old letters from my village," she said quickly, moving between him and the bed. Chidi stared at her. His eyes were cold. "Don't lie to me, Zainab. Secrets destroy families." The words felt like a knife. This man, who texted another woman every day, was talking about secrets. Zainab wanted to scream, but she smiled instead. "I would never keep secrets from you." He left for work. As soon as his car pulled away, Zainab pulled out the leather bag. She held it against her chest. Inside were the papers that proved who she really was. The richest woman in the room, in the house, maybe in the whole neighborhood. But what good was money when your heart was breaking? That evening, the family gathered for dinner. Papa Emeka sat at the head of the table. His face was serious. Mama Ngozi sat beside him, arms crossed. Folake whispered to her mother. Chidi stared at his plate. Zainab brought the food. Rice, chicken, plantain. She had cooked for 3 hours to make it perfect. "Sit down, Zainab," Papa Emeka said. His voice was not kind. She sat, her hands folded in her lap. Her heart was beating fast. 6 years, Papa Emeka said slowly. 6 years of marriage and no grandchild. This family needs children. Our name must continue. Maybe Zainab should see another doctor, Mama Ngozi said. Her voice pretended to be caring, but her eyes were sharp. Some women have problems they don't know about. Zainab's throat was tight. "I've been to the doctor. He said I'm healthy." "Doctors can be wrong," Folake said with a little laugh. "Then maybe," Papa Emeka looked at Chidi, "maybe my son should consider other options before it's too late." The room went silent. Zainab knew what other options meant. Another wife, a younger woman, someone who could give them what she apparently couldn't. Chidi didn't defend her. He just kept eating, like his father hadn't just suggested replacing his wife at the dinner table. Zainab's mind went to a memory. 6 months ago, a small clinic, a kind doctor with grey hair. "Mrs. Okonkwo, you are perfectly healthy. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you." The doctor smiled. Then his smile faded. "Sometimes the issue is with the husband. Has he been tested?" Zainab remembered feeling like the world had stopped. "He's been very busy with work," she said quietly. The doctor nodded slowly. "I see. Well, I strongly suggest he comes in. It would give you both answers." But Zainab never told Chidi what the doctor said. She knew his pride. She knew his family. If they found out the problem was him, they would be humiliated. So she stayed quiet. She let them blame her. Love means protecting the people you love, she thought, even when they hurt you. Now, sitting at this table, listening to them discuss replacing her, she wondered if her silence had been a mistake. "Chidi, you were tested, right?" Papa Emeka asked. The room waited. Zainab watched her husband's face. She saw his jaw tighten. She saw his fingers grip the fork too hard. "Of course," Chidi said smoothly. "Everything is fine with me." Zainab's heart broke a little more. He was lying. She knew he had never been tested. He was too proud, too scared. So he lied to his family and let them keep blaming her. That was the moment Zainab realized something. The man she loved didn't exist anymore. Maybe he never did. 2 days later, Zainab decided to do something she hadn't done in months. Surprise her husband at work. She made his favorite lunch, jollof rice and chicken. She put on a nice dress. Maybe if she tried harder, he would see her again. Really see her. She walked into Okonkwo and Associates, the architecture firm Chidi owns, the firm she had paid for with her dowry. The receptionist looked surprised to see her. Mrs. Okonkwo, does your husband know you're coming? It's a surprise, Zainab said with a smile that hurt her face. She walked to his office. The door was half open. She heard laughing. A woman's laugh, light and flirty, and then Chidi's laugh. The laugh he used to give Zainab a long time ago. Zainab stopped. Her hand holding the lunch bag started to shake. Through the door, she saw a woman sitting on Chidi's desk, her legs crossed, wearing Chidi's jacket. She was beautiful, confident. Everything Zainab used to be before 6 years of criticism broke her down. You really need to stop keeping your wife waiting for so much attention, the woman said playfully. Chidi leaned back in his chair, smiling. Let's not talk about her. The floor disappeared under Zainab's feet. The walls closed in. She couldn't breathe. Let's not talk about her. Like she was nobody. Like their 6 years meant nothing. The lunch bag slipped from her hand. It hit the floor with a soft thud. The laughing stopped. Chidi's head turned. His eyes went wide. Zainab. Friends, I need you to pause right here. If this story is touching your heart, if you feel Zainab's pain, click that subscribe button. Share this video. Let the world know that every person deserves to be treated with respect. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt invisible to someone you loved? Zainab bent down slowly, picked up the lunch bag. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. I brought you lunch, she whispered. You should have called first, Chidi said. He stood up quickly, but he didn't come to her. He stood between her and the woman, like he was protecting the wrong person. The woman smiled. Not a kind smile, a winner's smile. Oh, so you're Zainab? Chidi has told me so much about you. Zainab forced her lips to move. And you are? Yetunde Bello. She held out her hand like they were meeting at a business lunch. I'm the PR consultant Chidi hired. We're working on landing a contract with the Adeleke Group. You know the big company? Zainab's heart stopped. The Adeleke Group, her father's company, her company, the company that was secretly hers, and they were trying to impress her own business while treating her like garbage. The irony was so painful, it almost made her laugh. I see, Zainab said quietly. She set the lunch on the desk. I'll leave you to your work. She turned to go. Behind her, she heard Yetunde whisper, she seems nice. And Chidi's reply, she's simple. Simple. The word followed Zainab all the way home. Simple, like she was small, uncomplicated, easy to replace, if only they knew. That night, Mama Ngozi called an emergency family meeting. Everyone sat in the living room. The air was thick with tension. Zainab sat on the edge of the couch, hands folded, already knowing this would be bad. We've been patient, Mama Ngozi started. Her voice was loud, angry. 6 years we've waited. 6 years of shame. People ask me, Mama Ngozi, where are your grandchildren? What do I tell them? We gave you a chance, Papa Emeka added. But enough is enough. Folake nodded, enjoying the drama. It's not fair to Chidi. He deserves to be a father. Zainab's voice was soft. We can keep trying. We can. There's no need, Chidi interrupted. He stood up, pulled out his phone, showed them a picture. Yetunde is 3 months pregnant. The room exploded with joy. Mama Ngozi clapped her hands. Papa Emeka smiled for the first time in months. Folake squealed. They celebrated like they'd won a lottery. Zainab sat frozen. The world moved in slow motion. 3 months. He'd been cheating for at least 4 or 5 months, maybe longer. You see? Chidi looked at Zainab with something like pity. The problem was never me. It was you. Those words were bullets. Each one hit Zainab's heart and shattered something that could never be fixed. Mama Ngozi stood up, pointed at the door. Pack your things. This house is for wives who can fulfill their duties. You've been nothing but bad luck. 6 years, Zainab whispered. I gave you 6 years. And you gave us nothing, Folake said cruelly. Good riddance. Zainab looked at Chidi, her husband, the man she left everything for. What about the business? The firm? I gave you the money to start it. Chidi's face went hard, cold. That was a gift, a dowry. You have no claim to it. It's mine. Sign these. Papa Emeka threw divorce papers on the table. Sign and leave with whatever dignity you have left. Zainab looked at the papers, at the family that never really loved her, at the husband who'd already replaced her, and something inside her that had been bending for 6 years finally snapped. Not into anger, into clarity. She stood up slowly, walked upstairs, packed one small bag. She left behind the nice clothes Mama Ngozi had criticized, the jewelry Chidi had stopped noticing, everything except for the leather bag under the bed. That she held close. When she came back downstairs, the whole family was waiting, watching, making sure she left. Don't come back begging, Mama Ngozi said. When life gets hard and you're alone, don't knock on this door. Chidi opened the front door. Outside, Zainab could see Yetunde sitting in the car, touching her belly, smiling like she'd won the greatest prize. I should have listened to my mother from the start, Chidi said. His voice was so cold it could freeze fire. You were never good enough for this family. Zainab walked past him, stopped at the door, looked back one last time at the people who'd broken her heart into dust. You threw away the woman who built your life, she said quietly. Now watch what happens when I take it back. She walked into the rain. The gate closed behind her. She heard them laughing inside, celebrating. They thought they'd won. They had no idea what was coming. That night, in a small hotel room, Zainab sat on the bed. The rain hit the window like tiny drum beats. She was alone, truly alone for the first time in 6 years. She pulled out the leather bag. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were the papers she'd hidden for so long. Birth certificate. Zainab Omolara Adeleke. Trust documents. 45% ownership of Adeleke Group Holdings. Board membership papers. Vice chairman. A letter from her father, written before he died. My dearest Zainab, your silence is not weakness. It is a strategy. You are more powerful than you know. When the time comes, remember who you are. Remember what I built for you. Let them underestimate you. Then show them the truth. Tears rolled down Zainab's face. But this time, they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of awakening. She picked up her phone, dialed the number she hadn't called in 6 years. Mr. Olumide, it's me. It's Zainab. There was a pause, then a warm, relieved voice. Miss Adeleke, I've been waiting for this call. Welcome back. It's time, Zainab said. Her voice was stronger than it had been in years. I want my company back. I want my name back. I want everything that's mine. It's already yours, Mr. Olumide said. It always was. The board has been waiting. Your office is ready. Your father's empire is ready. Are you ready? Zainab looked at her reflection in the hotel mirror. The broken woman was gone. In her place was someone older, wiser, stronger. Yes, she said. I'm ready. The next morning, TVs across Lagos broadcast breaking news. Adeleke Group announces return of vice chairman after 6-year absence. Mystery heir revealed. Zainab Adeleke, daughter of late Chief Adeleke, takes her place as one of the most powerful business leaders in the country. In the Okonkwo house, Chidi sat with Yetunde on the couch, eating breakfast. The TV was on in the background. Mr. Okonkwo, his phone rang. Unknown number. This is Adeleke Group Holdings. We need to discuss your company's contract with our subsidiaries. There will be significant changes. The new vice chairman wants to review all partnerships personally. Chidi's face went pale. What changes? You'll receive a formal letter. The vice chairman will meet with you next week to discuss whether we'll continue our business relationship. The call ended. Chidi stared at his phone like it had betrayed him. On the TV, a photo appeared. A woman in a sharp business suit was standing in a boardroom that overlooked all of Lagos. Confident, powerful, beautiful. Zainab. The news anchor spoke. Miss Adeleke controls over 500 billion naira in assets and has influence over dozens of companies across West Africa. Sources say she's been living quietly for 6 years and has now returned to claim her father's legacy. Chidi dropped his phone. His face lost all color. Yetunde stared at the screen, her mouth open. That's your wife, Yetunde whispered. Ex-wife, Chidi corrected automatically, but his voice shook. The TV showed more. Adeleke Group has financial ties to over 300 businesses in Lagos, including construction firms, real estate companies, and architectural agencies. Chidi's firm. His entire company survived on contracts from subsidiaries of Adeleke Group, contracts that Zainab now controlled. His phone buzzed again, a text from an unknown number. Hello Chidi, let's talk about what you call the gift. See you next week, ZA. Mama Ngozi rushed into the room. Did you see the news? That woman, that Adeleke woman, she looks exactly like... She stopped, stared at the TV, at Zainab's face. No, she whispered. No, it can't be. But it was. The woman they threw out in the rain, the woman they called useless, the woman they mocked and blamed and destroyed. She wasn't just anybody. She was the sacred billionaire who owned their world. And now she was coming back, not for revenge, but for justice. Not to destroy them, but to teach them the cost of cruelty. The rain had stopped. The sun was rising over Lagos. And Zainab Adeleke stood in her office, looking out at the city that once belonged to her father. Now it belonged to her. They thought throwing me away would end my story, she said to Mr. Olumide, who stood beside her. They didn't know they were writing my beginning. Dear viewers, if the story moved you, if you believe in second chances and the power of knowing your worth, subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. Share this story with someone who needs to remember they are more than what people say about them. Drop a comment and tell me, what would you do if you were Zainab? The moral of this story is simple but powerful. Never judge a person's worth by what you think they can give you. Treat everyone with respect because you never know who they really are. The person you throw away today might be the person holding your future tomorrow. Silence is not weakness. Patience is not defeat. And a woman who knows her value doesn't need to prove it until the moment is right. Remember, being kind costs nothing, but being cruel, that bill always comes due.